All right, everybody, welcome back. We got a treat for y'all tonight. You can see the title is Times of Revelation. They laughed at us, part three. So we're back with one of these, and man, another edition of prophetic preaching, timely teaching, and just another different, interesting way presenting presenting the gospel. Um, Revealing certain hidden things or things that uh, have been hidden in plain sight by the other side, by the and so what we see here is a show called 704 Halsey. Now, welcome to whoever came on. This is Times of Revelation. They laughed at us, part three. To see the other two parts, you have to go on Salvation and Glory 7 on YouTube, and you'll definitely enjoy those. It's just a different way of showing certain things that are hidden in plain sight, and so we can just watch and observe certain things. And on the first two parts, we showed an interview Martin Lawrence did on Arsenio Hall, where he said a few things that showed that he knew how true Judah was. Just according to certain things he has seen. Showed an episode we showed an episode of A Different World. Of Room 222. Episode of Sanford and Son, Funny You Don't Look It. But those were on. I remember exactly what parts, but there were two parts. There were. I think the Good Times and the Good Times one. Black Jesus was the second episode overall, point blank period. And that show was made by, and see, here's the thing, Sanford and Son. This show was done by, excuse me, hold on. Good Times was done by Norman Lear. This show was done by Norman Lear. This dude loved throwing stuff in there. I mean, and it's interesting because if anybody's been on the blog, Quickening Words, the number 2, YOU.wordpress.com, what they will have seen is, oh man, look at that picture. Oh man. Wow. So if he makes it to July 27th, he'll be 100 years old. Wow. He wrote All in the Family, My Sanford and Son, One Day at a Time, The Jeffersons, and Good Times. Now, on the teaching we did before this, literally within an hour and a half to before this, we started to talk about the significance of the name Jefferson, right? And there was actually a show this person wrote called The Jeffersons. I'm sure there's something on there as well, but we're not gonna go to the sins. If I'm let to go check that out at some point and find, something there, then hey. But interesting enough, um, the ones we've been doing is a little more rare. Room 222 was rare in the sense I didn't know what it was because it's close to the time my parents were. Even though good times, I mean, but they would have been in their teens, close to their teens with good times. So that's a little different. But Room 222 was literally like 3 years, after 3 or 4 years after. So that's a little different. But very interesting the title, All in the Family, because they definitely keep it in the family in the media, in these industries. They keep it in the family. It's a lot more people related than people typically think. We're gonna put it like that, and including those in sports entertainment. Yep, I said it. Sports entertainment. So, with that being said, wow, wow, and it's saying this person is years active in it was 1948. We can't make this up, y'all. 1948 through present. You already know. You already know who is so-called, right? Oh, oh, uh-oh. See, wasn't even gonna go to his, y'all, wasn't even gonna go to his profile first. Was gonna go, straight in and giving the intro to 704 Houses Street, and maybe talk a little bit about All in the Family because it's a spinoff from that. One of the spinoffs. Just like Good Times was a spinoff from Mod, which was a spinoff from All in the Family. So, um, oh Lord. Okay, we're gonna come back right there because a similar thing that's happened on the one we did about an hour and a half or two, where when looking up Coach, it happened to find something else as it pertains to with the upbringing. Now, but it stood out more today. This definitely stands out right there. Oh my goodness, y'all that can see it right now probably see what is just highlighted, blasting up on the screen. So before we get to that, um, for those that haven't seen the first two parts, this is called Times of Revelation. They laughed at us, and this is part three. And awesome enough, there'll be another part, maybe even another couple of parts, but it's just very interesting to find these things. So, like I said, on either part one or part two, uh, there was a part where Martin Lawrence did an interview on Arsenio Hall, and he stated a few things that showed that he knew and things, or he knew, you know, there might have been, or how they might have, let's say, their appearance would have been. Like, look, even mentioning something about the old Ten Commandments, which is the one most people know that had Charlton Heston and Yul Brynner. So, um, and on part one or part two, we either went into, I think it was Room 222, which came out in 1969, and not only, hey, how you doing? Um, Welcome. This is another edition of Prophetic Preaching and Timely Teaching. Revelation revealed under the ministry known as Yes Ministry, the Salvation and Glory Ministries. We're doing a intro and slash review right now because the title is Times of Revelation. Um, they laughed at us, part three. And we're showing how they put in a lot of different things in the media and entertainment industry, showing who true Judith is. And a lot of times, well, pretty much, yeah, a lot of times, much is done by the ones that are claiming to be that they are Jews or not Jewish, because they don't. So the media and the networks and our the producers, things like that, sports things, you know. So hidden in plain sight, and a lot of these we talked about also. That notice when the laugh track comes on. The laugh track is there to make people blow stuff off or brush it off or just laugh at it, or even just act like they didn't hear or see what they just saw. So making fun of the fact that and it was making someone look like a buffoon because they thought something, because they actually saw something was true on there, and it's and trying to make people have double think, a double speak, which is what we, even on the one before we came on here, which was untitled, but it's not part of this series like this, but there is a relation uh, where they want it to be double-minded, have duality, and be confused. So, by throwing out certain directions, certain things, and saying the complete opposite, and just saying stuff that's illogical, completely illogical and out of whack, okay, to cause confusion. So, right, and it's funny to them at the expense of our people. And it's like, we got time for that. So, with that being said, uh, in either part one or part two, we talked about we went through certain videos. We went through where Martin Lawrence had went on Arsenio Hall. We went through Room 222, which had Denise Nicholas. We went through what was the other one that was real subtle? Because on one of them we showed where it's really subtle. Oh, A Different World. A Different World. It was real subtle, but it was slick. They would have certain characters that would be, and just for lack of a better term, we'll use the terms quote unquote black and quote unquote white, and then sometimes we'll say quote unquote Jewish, but we'll also a little bit about those certain things. But with that being said, they'll have certain characters say wearing certain colors and have certain cues, and sometimes they'll have the chessboard on which is the checkerboard or chessboard floor, which is completely black and white for duality, okay, for confusion, for the yang, stuff like that. So, and the square standing square. But with that being said, they'll have stuff like that, right? And they'll have them say something like shalom. Okay? Or it's just something like that. But it'll be two quote unquote black characters, right? And this is, I think, and the crazy part about that one was, I think it was season one of A Different World, which is, I think, 1987. Season one of A Different World, episode 11. And we'll get to that number 11 for them. It symbolizes duality for them. Obviously, you got one, and you got, two ones. You got the quote unquote 10 twin towers, 9, 11, right? And we talked about consistently on here the new 9/11 emergency, paying attention, like the Tabernacle of David being restored. That's where that is. If you go to Amos 9:11, you look at Revelation 11, so you'll see different there. So even what Levin would have been on a different calendar as it pertains to Noah's flood and everything. That and the first day of the year. But with that being said, let's continue what we're on. So we talked about that. That's the more subtle way. Room 222 had a real subtle way where the quote unquote black, the name Richie, the one of the courses I think he could take was Hebrew, but the guy said, this one I had and I was like, really? Was rude, or I think another person that they didn't have it at his other school. So he had to take, so they didn't have it the others if he was going to stay going there because he was out of district or something. So he come he put his head back in the door because it was like, well, I don't. It was a tough course for me. That's what the principal was saying. He might not take it. Man, that boy looked back in there and said, "Shalom." I was like, they wild for this one. Like it's small stuff like that that many might not catch that they do to show you the truth right in your face, but then as you laugh it off where you don't even so your subconscious actually is catching it. Subliminal stuff like they do when they throw up subliminal signs and certain colors and screens and certain stuff that's in music, backward imagines like that too. Um, so it's like yo just caught it, but you and you like nah we couldn't, right? So the more blatant ones was on a part together, which was um, the Good Times episode, the second overall Good Times episode, which is a to me, but it's two, which is also like division to them, which is also 1+1. But here you go. It's like wow, okay. So season 1, episode 2, it was called Black Jesus. That one's so obvious, it's not even funny. That one is just like okay. They even say a few like just in it, like it, and then try to laugh it off and try to make it super and try to use them and to make a joke. The same man, John Owens, who played in Roots, who was Kunta Kinte, the same man who played in Coming to America and was the dad of Lisa McDowell, who would be the bride. He was the owner of McDowell's, which was making it the Golden Arches, was making a joke off of McDonald's. But anyway, the same man who is the dad, the main is in this show that we're gonna watch, which is 704. It's a house, right? So, and he gonna be, and for some reason on both of them, those Good Times in that, it was like the woman. You're gonna see feminist. It's just like really, but in this show, but they put a lot of stuff in this show. I had never. This is another. I never heard of this, but it's gonna do a couple of obvious things too. Different Strokes did too, right? So we got to get that one. There's another one that's not very obvious. It's slick. It's more like the more covert style, like a different world one. And the other one, actually, there's another different world episode that they did. It's subtle, but it's kind of in the middle as far as it just being blatant in face. So there, yeah, there's quite a bit of stuff. But with that being said, wow. So Sanford and Son was funny. You don't look it. Very obvious. They put that so-called. They put open stuff on there, and they put. Basically, he did an ancestry test, and they gave him. They sent them like a family crest, and it had different stuff on it, like a king, like Ethiopian, and then it had a star, and it was like what they call the Star of David, which is not the Star of David. It's really the Star of a false god called Rim, but it's not. It's not really the Star of David. So they're already telling you who they are and what they did. So with that, but um, that's what people know as they or they associate it with being a quote unquote Jewish. So they made a whole. It was a whole joke of do it. I mean, there was just a bunch of making like a buffoon. There's Fred again, Frederick, right? Y'all, the Frederick and the William thing. Like even with Hegel, we talked about Hegelian dialectic, problem, reaction, solution, right? So we talked about with Prince. We talked even there's this Will. Then you have Will Smith. We know what did happen with Will Smith. And he's supposed to be one that shapes the mind, the will, right? Mind and will, that's right. With the that's what a Smith is. Because remember, a goldsmith, he shapes it's a gold into a certain way. Locksmith, they work with locks. So Will Smith. So and y'all, this is wild. But because there's a lot in Fresh Prince, the Fresh Prince. Man, you know, as much as that was a show I once have watched quite a bit when I was here, it's not one I remember like the characters and stuff like that. But as far as remembering specific episodes, really, or if there's more stuff in, haven't gone through this season's like a different world, like a different stroke, stuff like that. But I mean, think about it, a different world than where you come from. But they're saying when you go to college, it's a different world, like a new world. Like they want to get you acclimated to the one, or even on there they show fertilities and stuff like that. So which is like Boule Light. When I say Boule Light, I'm saying like young, and like Mace, like Light and Mace Junior. So they're basically trying to get them ready for the different strokes to rule different strokes for different folks, different things for this group of people, this group. So remember, there were two young children that ended up being orphans that were adopted by who? A rich man. So, so that dynamic there is like, so. But yeah, you got good times. Even though they're calling it good times, right? Um, Sorry about that. Then you know, that was me. I was trying to spit something out, but and then what was that? Was Sanford and Son, and it was saying funny you don't look. So they were clowning. So what they kind of end up having the person like do once they find out that they try to find out stuff with quote unquote the stuff that is based off of stuff in the Wicked Talmud, not stuff that's based off of the law of God, but the Wicked Talmud, which we did mention on the last discussion that we had, and that's that mood, mysticism, all that stuff that's wicked and that's wicked and that's that. So typically they try to have them do stuff like it's for just extras, that was added stuff that was traditions of men. Okay, so they end up trying to have them uh, convert to being it when the quote unquote black isn't actually by right of so they're making a joke. Everybody joke at that, but they're making a clown about it, and then they try to say at the end. Well, at least on the one with Sanford and Son, they try to say at the end, "Oh no, you know what? You weren't really, that." But it's like really. And then they have another character who's supposedly supposed to be the one that knows the, but if you look at their character, it's like their character ain't even like how the other world. And of course that was S Nash show, but in Good Times, man, there was so much with that one. Esther, um, it was Flo Rida was on that show. She was supposed to be the one that knew when did that, and James Evans supposed to be the one that didn't really even, he would just say like off the wall crazy stuff. Well, John Amos played him, and on this show, he's similar. He's just gonna say off the wall stuff about stuff that's supposed to be. So you see how they always make fun of that, or they make fun of the church, and then they make fun of the people who are actually, and they make the man the flinch as it pertains to, instead of being either in that, and again their head as it pertains to following Jesus Christ, who is the head of it. So they always find a way to those type of things. So this is interesting. Wasn't even so. Let's get to more of this intro. So this right here, what you see on your screen, is the Wikipedia for Norman Lear, who was the one that, and we just mentioned quite a few shows that he wrote. All in the Family, The Jeffersons, Sanford and Son, Good Times, Maude, and then we said One Day at a Time. So, yeah. Of course, he read the 704 Hauser Street. It was a spinoff. Okay, All in the Family, and they're in the same house that All in the, as far as the setup is most likely, but the address is the same. It's kind of like, I think it was Family Matters and Full House, but of course Full House mostly was pretty much the show, and then quote unquote white show, and then Family Matters quote unquote black show. So same kind of dynamic. So, and I'm using the terms quote unquote white and quote unquote black for those who, just for communication purposes, okay? So, looking at this, now this is wild. Because I wasn't even going to come to this. It was just like when I was for Coach on the other one, I didn't. And I was going to, what I found, but praise the Lord, he wanted something to be found and exposed. So look right here. It says, Lear was born in New Haven, Connecticut, the son of, oh man. We got another one. The son of Jeanette. Ooh. Now, see, I was gonna mention Janet. Yeah, you got Janet Jackson. Yeah, who was on Good Times. But Janet Dubois, who sang the song, I think, for Good Times and the Jeffersons, if I'm not mistaken. We know she passed recently around the time of the quote-unquote the epidemic, and around the time Kobe was too. All that stuff tying together. Janet, which can also be close to N, but is also derived from John, which is like John Amos as well. Which is John, which is God is gracious. And Dubois had something to do with wood, or those counting the corn, and economics. So it actually has something to do with economics as well. Oh yes, it tied in with Revelation chapter 6. But that being said, you also have Jean Grey, right? They had Jen on, you have Jen on Tekken, and they had Jen and Devil Jen, so that showed you the possession that they want to be possessed by, the side, and they want people to become double-minded. You have, they had Jen on Black Lightning, as well, who was one of his daughters. Of course, in Arabic, and we mentioned this on the one before, but in Arabic, the word jinn is the word for evil. It's also related to genie, genius, Gemini, which they say of the twins, the confused quote unquote being brought forth. So, yeah. right? I'm be looking like two eyes or two inner. Wow, two eyes, two eyes, just like with two double U's. But anyway, wow, like yeah, that's wow. But anyway, what you say, Jeanette and Hyman Herman, in quote, Leah Herman, like Harmon, Mount Herman, where the ones took an oath according to the book of note, and they came and took wives of the daughters of men. Really, they them and away. Terrible. Next part. It says Leah grew up in a quote unquote Jewish household in Connecticut and had a bar mitzvah ceremony. His mother was originally from Ukraine. Y'all, this I didn't. I, see, I want to say I looked him up like that, but it wouldn't have stuck out like that at the time. Just like because it wouldn't have stuck out that he's from Ukraine, Ukrainian, excuse me, like Ukrainian, not from the country Ukraine, but like Ukrainian village, Ukrainian village or Ukrainian village in Chicago, right? Or as far as the school he went to, and then he moved to another school, talking about high school. But the thing is, but he is Slavic, which means this is Slavic here as well, but quote unquote Jewish, right? But it's Ukraine. It's the two countries at war. Said his father's family was from Russia. But he said Archie was based, and then we gotta go back to it. Storm and Norman, right? Um, that was Wilt Chamberlain's middle Norman. You had Norm Nixon play for the Los Angeles Lakers, just like Wilt did. Uh, really, Norman was the thing for 20 as well. I say there was something else connected with that movie of A Bug with Norman, but there was a lot of things with Norman and Lear. That almost sounds like a but okay. So he said he came across something that was quote unquote anti-Semitic. It was that term. We've discussed that many times. You have to actually be submitted for someone, Shemitic, for someone against you to be that. Even though you should have been Edom or Eve, which would then make you. But you're so just but because they stand with you. But the thing is, with the term, they would be that because they against you, so that would really make them. But it's hypocritical. Hypocrite, right? You learn to say this. You don't live the time, but let's look here. So he was saying he came across, a Catholic that was Semitic, right? And so he moved that, so he started to put certain things in certain things, and that's the story, right? That's the story to get. So let's click on All in the Family.
Let's just look at it real quick. Wow, it does look similar to how all the other ones look. Okay. All in the Family is an American television sitcom that originally aired on CBS for 9 seasons, from 1971 to 1979. Afterwards, it was continued with the spin-off series Archie Bunker's Place, which picked up where All in the Family had ended and ran for 4 more seasons through 1983. Based on the British sitcom Till Death Do Us Part, All in the Family was produced. And that's like how they say son for the son. It came from Steptoe or something, but let's continue. All in the Family was produced by Norman Lear and Bud York and York, New York, York. Right, okay. Let's continue. Star Carol O'Connor, Gene, Gee, wow, Gene Stapleton, Sally, well, like Rod, Sally Rod, Sally Struthers, and Rob Albert. That name to Rainer, if that's in rain, reindeer, rain to rain in the rains, right? Your thousands and your rains, your what's that? Like a rain with a is it rain you, but Rainer, rain also rule. The show revolves around the life of a working class man and his family. The show broke ground in its depiction of issues previously considered unsuitable for a U.S. network television comedy such as racism, anti-Semitism, infidelity, homosexuality, women's liberation, rape, religion, miscarriages, abortion, breast cancer, the Vietnam War, menopause, and impotence. Through depicting these controversial issues, the series became arguably one of television's most influential, there's that word, comedic programs, as it injected the sitcom format with more dramatic moments and realistic topical conflict. Oh, so it has an episode. That's ranked number 13 on TV Guide's 100 Greatest Episodes of All Time. Now, that may have been at a certain time, but at that certain time it was. Okay. Let's look at the premise. All in the Family is about a working class. All in the Family is about a working class white family living in Queens. Queen, like the quote unquote Queen mother, and New York. Okay, York, New York. Its patriarch is Archie Bunker, okay, an outspoken, narrow-minded man, seemingly prejudiced against everyone who is not like him or his idea of how people should be. Archie's wife, Edith. Edith, congregation. Okay, Edith. Gene Stapleton. Wow, is the one who played Edith. Would you look at that? Is sweet and understanding, though somewhat naive and uneducated. Her husband sometimes despairingly calls her dingbat. Their one child, Gloria, that's played by Sally Struthers, is generally kind and good-natured like her mother, but displays traces of her father's stubbornness and temper. Unlike them, she's a feminist. So you see, after those movements, like and all that in this season, they were still doing it early these, and you see what they're throwing in these shows to influence. Gloria is married to graduate student Michael Stivic Rayner, referred to as Meathead, wow, by Archie, whose values are likewise influenced and shaped by the counterculture of the 1960s. The two couples represent the real-life clash of values between the, in quotes, greatest generation and baby boomers. Now, I'm trying to remember if we talked about, we may have to do another thing about generations. We have some up on YouTube, but we didn't about on that. We talked about Generation X, Y, and stuff like that, but to go back and talk about greater generation and baby boomers, trying to remember if we have one. We talked about it on a discussion in full all the way, or if that was just uh, research and we haven't it hasn't been brought out on one of the lives. Um, in any case, that's actually very important to know that certain generation. For much of the series, the Stevics live in bunkers. In the bunkers, home to save money, providing abundant opportunity for them to irritate each other. The show is set, watch this, in the Astoria, Aster, A, or that name of that falls. So we already, that Queen Mother, worship Queen, that the reality that they to be over there. They have the capital city of the is Washington District of Columbia. You got Columbia pictures. Come on. So, and of course we know it was in what? It was in Coming to America. Which John was in. There we go. So he was on that. And he was on 704 the street. Let's continue though. The show is set in the Astoria section of Queens. And so they know about the Ria NSC's Deo, those that know what they be do when they certain things and who they be trying to give glory to. But let's continue. Even though all the glory belongs to God. But they don't want to give him the glory due unto his name. The show is set in the Astoria section of Queens, with the vast majority of scenes taking place in the bunkers' home at 704 Hauser Street. Occasional scenes take place in other locations, especially during later seasons, such as Kelsey's Bar, a neighborhood tavern that Archie spends a good deal of time in, and eventually purchases, and the Stevics' home after Mike and Gloria move out. Supporting characters represent the changing demographics of the neighborhood, especially the Jeffersons, a black family who live in the house next door in the early seasons. So Carol O'Connor as Archie Bunker, frequently called a, in quotes, lovable bigot. Archie was an assertively prejudiced blue-collar worker, a World War II veteran. Archie longs for better times when people sharing his viewpoint were in charge. America, it again, quote unquote. As evidenced by the nostalgia, stalling, as in stalling. Wow. Usually when he has the first time that came to mind to hear that in the word nostal, like a stall, stalling, stagnation. Because that's what is going to do. It's going to you to go back in the past, and it's going to cause you to stay there, and you're going to stand because you're gonna want to be there, but you anymore. You got to keep going. What we're supposed to do is keep on pressing toward the mark of the prize of the high calling in Christ Jesus. But like to stay there and they end up in Arrested Development, like the name of that group. Right. So wow. As evidenced by the nostalgic theme song, Those Were the Days. Wow, who was that had a song like that? I think Aaliyah might have had a song like Those Were the Days, something like that. Also the show's original, wow, so that was the show's original title. That also might kind of make you think of the song Happy Days. As we know, it comes from what that Egyptian quote unquote beast. So when they had that song that Pharrell did, there you go. Despite his bigotry, he is portrayed as loving and decent. This is talking about Archie Bunker again. Like a bunker. Like where you hide when nuclear and stuff is happening. Okay. Or when wars, let's look. And he was a World War II veteran, is what it's saying. Let's continue. Despite his bigotry, he is portrayed as loving and decent, as well as a man who is simply struggling to adapt to the constantly changing world rather than someone motivated by hateful racism or prejudice. Mm-hmm. His ignorance and stubbornness seem to cause his malapropism-filled arguments to self-destruct. He often rejects uncomfortable truths by blowing a raspberry. All right. Let's look at this other. Okay, let's look at the meat, and then we'll move on. Now, Rob Reiner as Michael Meathead Stivitt. Gloria's Polish, there it is. Gloria's Polish American hippie husband is part of the counterculture of the 1960s. While good-hearted and well-meaning, he constantly spars with Archie and is equally stubborn, although his moral views are generally presented as being more ethical and his logic somewhat sounder, said presented as that. He is the most educated person in the household, a fact which gives him a self-assured arrogance. And despite his intellectual belief in progressive social values, he tends to expect Gloria to defer to him as her husband. But didn't it say she was feminist? So come on, man. Wow, they even gave her a one season spinoff. Anyway. As discussed in All in the Family retrospectives, Richard Dreyfuss sought the part, but Norman Lear ultimately cast Rayner. Is what it's saying. Okay, so we can go here and look at 704 Houser Street on the side here. Okay. So it's saying 704 Houser is an American sitcom television series and a spinoff of All in the Family. It was the final one of several. So did you see it said 1971 to 1979? This final one, spinoff, was made in 1994. Wow, right? It aired on CBS from April 11th, 4/11, to May 9th, 5/9, that's 14, which is this series, 1994. The series is built around the concept of a black family, the Cumberbatch family, moving into the former Queens home of Archie Bunker after Bunker had sold the house, located at 704 Houser Street. 704. 7 plus 4 is 11. That's due. So they already explained they're gonna give you some of these. Alright. And it had 6 episodes, but 1 unaired. Of course it would have that. And they ended up with 5. Wow, right? Now, and then also if you look at that, April 11th and May 9th, that's the 9 right there too. Now, it says for the overview, Norman Lear created this series during the time when conservative talk radio was experiencing its initial upswing in popularity in the United States, particularly in the form of Rush Limbaugh. Lear felt that the time was right for a new show to explore new issues, making 704 Houser even more explicitly political than All in the Family. John Amos, a veteran of the earlier Lear sitcom Good Times, itself a spinoff of the All in the Family spinoff, Maude, starred. Hey, y'all remember that show? Y'all remember that? What was it? It was some type of series where Ernest goes to. It'd be like Ernest go to school. Well, look, Ernie. Ernie is short for that. But yeah, his name on here, John Amos' character name was Ernie Cumberbatch, while Lenny Godfrey played his wife Rose. So Rose Cumberbatch. The show features a reversal of the original, duality, reversal, right? And that's another one of setback or delay. Also says it when you have them as well. And let's continue. Um, Ernie and Rose Cumberbatch are working class Democrats, while their son Goody, like Imam, Goody, while their son Goody is a conservative. That's what dude with this like a bro. Nah, cause you gotta hear the stuff he's saying. It's just like really conservative activist, and his girlfriend Sherilyn Markovitch. Watch this. Is white, quote unquote, and Jewish. Now Goody's actual name is, you ready? Thurgood Marshall. Ah, but yeah, he's quote unquote conservative. So there's so much. Yeah, it's not even. When you watch it, you're gonna be like, really? Thurgood Marshall. He's almost like trying to say third. That's close to Thor. That's a that's named from Norseman. Gene been putting good on it, trying to say he's. But it's like no sir. Marshall, like like a marshal, right? Uh, Enforcer of the law, right? Ian and Cumberbatch, and Cumberbatch means something with the valley. Let's look it up here. And it's in the Cumberbatch meaning. Where you guys can see. Okay, there we go. Stream in a valley. But look, read it. Habitational name for someone from Cumberbatch in northern Cheshire. So a stream in a valley in northern Cheshire. If you remember, most people know of this thing, but in Alice in Wonderland, that is one of the most movies, uh, cartoons, writing ever. Wonderland, that wanderlust stuff. You say wandering, you wander around confusion, right? Like the land of Nod, like right, confused. You marked with the window. So, and there was a lot of stuff in there. They do a bunch of swirls, and the Cheshire Cat and it was known for what, that creepy looking smirk or grin, which looks kind of like how that could be looking, which looks like you'll see other depictions of it. He'd be looking like he doing what, slick stuff, lying, thieving, stealing, killing. He got that look on his face. The Joker had the same thing. The Joker, of course, is for what? Jokes, laugh now, cry later. Known for uh, uh, Royal Order of the Justice, uh, Nick, right? Who won the MVP? So, wow, Nick look like Nick, or like Nico, like, wow, Lord, okay. Like what, Lord? Like what, ruling over the people, conquering the people, the the oh my goodness. So didn't even look up his and but didn't even look up his name at the time. So wow. The word cumber you think of like cumber. But that's interesting. Yep, but the Cheshire Cat was supposed to be like a what? Like a quote unquote, what they call in other stuff. Uh, quote unquote. In other, in religion, they call it spirit eyed. Right? It's a trickster. It could be invisible at times. It would disappear. It would come back and always say riddle and be tight and things. Always looking. But look at the meaning for cumber. Yeah, because I was like, cumber, ain't that like somebody like hamper or hinder? So there that is again with when we talked about if you got nostalgia, you just be wandering in that. You be continuing that. Cool. And you'll be hampered or hindered. Wow, right? I like when I said cumber at the ground, right? It hinder. I need to be cut down. Okay. All right. So that's not. Where we going? So now we're gonna check out this show. Uh, here we go, y'all.
Sherilyn! Sherilyn!
Yes, Mr. Celebrity?
Was that Virgin Mary?
Sorry I took so long,
I
but
know y'all heard
I
that.
wanted to get it right. And you can't rush a girl in love when she wants to get it right.
Makes sense.
So, did I get it right?
On a scale of 10, 10.
Good. How's that?
That's a 12.
Ready?
Yeah?
Let's do it.
Stop. Now stop. Remember our agreement? Besides, my parents will be home from church any minute.
That's okay. The first time goes really fast. Slam, bam.
I mean, she's supposed to be quote unquote Jewish.
They say. Didn't I say they say? Well, they do. They say it all the time. Oh, 3 billion men on the planet, and I fall in love with the only guy who refuses to have sex before marriage.
That again, Sheldon, I can't be a hypocrite. I can't preach patience and abstinence to teenagers.
I know.
But you respect that in me, remember?
My brain respects it, yes. Other parts of me, I'm taking it through. Come on, baby. Please. Do we dispel the myths about black men and Jewish women, or what?
I know y'all heard that.
Can we at least tell the parents how we feel?
Reality with this.
But I want them to
Trying
know
to say the
that
myth is that
Too
men
much, but I also want to live.
are weak in the sense of they can't keep their things in their pants, but trying to say quote unquote Jewish.
their son, Thurgood Marshall Cumberbatch, not yet out of business
Ain't
school, is going to be on
real,
Face the
pretty
Nation.
good.
How many times do they see a 23-year-old black conservative on a national news show? They're going to be so proud.
My mother, maybe. If I let my hair grow back. My father would be proud of me if I looked like Don King. So fonder of my views than you are.
How many people are fond of your views? I mean, none of your white professors, very few black. I thought you said I got that right.
Yeah, well.
It was one thing to think like you during the Reagan Bush years, but now you're so courageous. Hopelessly misinformed, but courageous. That's why I find you irresistible. So, who tells me this is real serious? You? Me? Okay, me.
Oh, no, you
Perfect.
Hi, Mr. and Mrs. Cumberbatch. Guess what?
Shirley came over just to watch Face the Nation with us.
Joy to the world.
How was church, Mom?
Church was fine. It was the blasphemous heathen sitting next to me that spoiled my beautiful Sunday.
Rose,
The next time I go to church with you, lover man, one of us is going to be in a box.
Rose, I said I was sorry.
You should have seen him in church. Reverend Solomon preaches a killer sermon.
Rose,
Killer sermon. The congregation's heart so high, everyone's about to touch that golden thing. And what's Fat Albert here doing? Shifting around, squirming and grinding his big old cheeks into the pew like a shot's on fire.
I couldn't help it, Rose. That man's a fool.
He's my pastor, Ernie.
He should wash his ass, Rose.
You care about me, Ernie?
What kind of question is that, baby?
Then don't mess with my church, don't mess with my pastor, and please don't mess with my Sunday. Now, when I sign on with you, you signed on with that. Matter of fact, I had you sign on with that long before I ever let you sign on with me.
This is so thrilling.
Shirley.
Say what?
What? Not the heat, not the friction, but the ability to express feelings. It's terrific.
That's something they teach you in temple with them funny little beanies?
No, Mr. Cumberbatch, they teach us tolerance in the temple with the funny little beanies.
Don't take it personal, Sherilyn. The man is having a hard time. And his son's politics don't make it any easier for him.
Damn. I got to say it. It's spooky. They're downright
That's what
spooky.
Florida
The
used to
that Reverend
say.
Solomon has in that congregation. Pocketbooks flying through the air. People jumping up and down, waving out, hallelujah! Hallelujah! And for what?
For the sake of the good news, Ernie.
What good news, Rose?
The Jesus good news. And don't you blaspheme him.
If Jesus had been there this morning to hear that Reverend Solomon, he'd have come down and asked himself, what the hell are you talking about?
Excuse me, Pop. You're doing it again.
You're missing the point. Oh, am I?
Well, metaphorically speaking, the good news is just a can-do attitude. The specifics of Reverend Solomon's sermon have no real relevance.
They teach you all that in school, college boy? Huh?
Of course.
And who pays all that tuition for you to learn all that?
Well, you.
Metaphorically speaking, lock it up.
No, let it out. Let it out. Tell us about the sermon, Mr. Cumberbatch.
Tell him, Rose. Oh, you want me to tell him? Now, you got to understand, can't be more than 5 men in that whole congregation, including yours truly, Rose, who ain't out of work, about to be laid off or running out of benefits. Now, Reverend Solomon knows that. Says we are living in an ocean of despair. But what does he tell us to do about
There
it?
does need
He
to
says to
be,
swim.
it needs to be more men in the church than that. But they were making sure to put that up there and make fun.
Ever see anybody swim a damn metaphor, Mr. Who pays your rent? And the fool says,
They never being a thriving, a truly thriving church.
The whole congregation, this fool Solomon wants us swimming, navigating, and negotiating water.
You are missing the point, Ernie.
Yeah.
The preacher can't lift our spirits by pressing down on us. We have always to be pressed down.
All I know is we need us some Malcolm X, and he's serving up Jacques Cousteau.
At least he isn't blaming his own failures on everybody else.
you say?
Nothing.
No. Whose failures am I blaming on everybody else?
Here we go.
He wasn't talking about you. You better not be talking about him.
I was talking about the failures of black people generally.
Oh, what a relief. I thought it was just me you were talking about. But no, it's all us black people. Oh, I feel ever so much better.
Behave, you two. I have work to do.
I'll help you, Mr. Cumberbatch.
Thank you, dear.
You still haven't made it clear. Black people's failure to do what?
Keep their pants on, for one thing.
Oh, now, tell me about white folks. I suppose they're not dropping their pants, huh?
Well, maybe so. But the greatest impediment to the advancement of black people is certainly not white people.
Oh, well, what is it then?
Well, for one thing, it's the fact that we have too many children having children.
You just might be right on that one, son. Because I know one too many that I had.
I didn't volunteer for this job.
You had it too good all your life. You haven't seen enough of the pain and suffering in the neighborhood where there's nothing for them kids to do except have kids themselves.
Well, tell you what, Pop. Let's chip in and buy them a Nintendo. At least that'll keep their hands occupied.
And you gonna tell me that's supposed to be a black man talking?
A man can be black without feeling like a perpetual victim, Pop.
Oh, so we just feel like victims, do we?
Yeah.
A mind is a terrible thing to waste.
Oh, sure. Go ahead. Do anything but face it. Ridicule me. Ignore the facts.
Hello,
Hi, my name is Stivic, Joey Stivic.
I'm Bond, James Bond. Yeah?
My mother was raised in this house and I was born here and, well, I just kind of want to look around, but if this is a bad time.
It's a bad decade, but come on in. Kid says he was born here, wants to take a look around.
I'm Thurgood Cumberbatch. Hi. These are my parents, and this is my girlfriend, Sherilyn Markowitz. Hi.
Hi.
Wow, the outside looks so much different. I wasn't sure if this was the house.
Boy, look at it. Cool and rain. Drives his daddy up the wall, and the Oreo never even breaks a sweat.
I am not an Oreo, Pop, and you are a bigot.
Black man can't be a bigot, son. Ah!
Tell that to a Korean, Dad. Yeah, this is the house, all right.
He's saying that
Joey,
because
this is a family
Archie
matter. You know where the kitchen is. Go get some lemonade, something to eat.
Food? Wow, cool, thanks.
I'll be right in. Now, you two.
Excuse me, but I have to say this. Mr. Cumberbatch, Goody is not an Oreo. And I would appreciate it if you never called him that again.
Oh? And if I do?
Then I'll call you something.
What you got in mind? 8 ball? Shadow.
Much worse.
I know. The N-word. Nigger.
Honest. Oh, that's nothing. I prefer the D word.
The D-word?
Dad.
Dad!
You folks wouldn't happen to have any Grey Poupon, would you? So that's the way that happened. Just like that. Ooh, let me tell you, what a character.
Well, we got some family business that you're on. I'm sorry, Mr. Stivic, but take a hike.
Come on, Pop. No problem. I gotta get going anyway. Hey, maybe we can hang out later or something.
Well, Goody's going to be on Face the Nation in 10 minutes if you want to come back.
Yeah, why don't you come back? Yeah, okay. Hey, I want to walk the neighborhood anyway, like I used to with my grandfather. I could still hear him walking down the block, yelling at all the neighbors. See you, Dad.
All right, let's all have a seat, shall we? Now, was it just me, or did I hear somebody, and it wasn't my son, call me Dad?
I didn't mean to hurt anybody.
She didn't even know what she was saying.
No, I knew what I was saying. I just didn't mean to hurt anybody.
All right, you mind if I ask you a question, Caroline?
Sherilyn.
Whatever. How do you folks feel about you going with my son? You know, a black guy.
Well, my folks raised 3 daughters never to see color, Mr. Cumberbatch. But Goody's still not welcome in their home.
Why?
They can't stand his politics.
The liberals, Father. Like you.
May I see you in my office a minute, please? Now, son,
They're
with all
really
the beautiful black women on this
finished
planet,
over
all these
all the
beautiful Nubian sisters, you couldn't find one to fit your needs? Why white women?
I mean, all I see is a woman. And black, white, we're all God's children.
Yeah, well, lions and tigers all got cats, but you don't see them trucking down the aisle together, Goody.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
Said it from the heart.
Look, folks, relax, relax. We're only going together. We're not married,
So some
okay?
people are children.
Better than hell not, baby.
Jesus.
That doesn't mean it can't happen.
Yeah, anything can happen.
Mrs. Cumberbatch, may I have a word with you, please?
What? What?
What the hell is all that anyway?
Leftovers from my catering job last night.
Yeah, but what is it?
Fennel-based Cornish hen, pumpkin ravioli, a salad of matsutake mushrooms, sun-dried tomatoes, and baby arugula. Glad you asked. This is not what is frying you, Ernest Cumberbatch. You blaming me for what's going on with Goody in there.
Can't say I didn't warn you, Rose.
Warn me? He's our son. What do you mean, warn me?
I told you in the beginning. Rose, those kids are playing with fire. Better put a stop to it. Ernie, you said, all kids want to play with fire. They'll get tired of it, you'll see. Rose, I said, I know her. She likes fire. She likes her bacon burned and a chicken died. Better put a stop to it while you can, Rose. Ernie, sweetie, you said, I'm his mama. I know my baby. Trust me. All right, Rose, I trust you. Now I'm telling you, if you don't do something about that girl in there,
Do what?
kill her.
She's not your problem, Ernest, and neither am I. You had a dream for your son, but it didn't turn out to be his dream. And now it's choking. If you want to know who's hurting more, you or me, it's me. I'm his mother. The woman in his life until now. If he's rejecting anyone's blackness, it's mine. It's not yours.
Oh, baby, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
It's not you, Ernest. I just don't know what's right for me to feel.
There's no right or wrong about what you're feeling, Rose.
But a mother's only supposed to want what makes a child happy.
Now, when it makes her husband miserable.
I don't get it. We spend all this time together. You say that you love me, but you won't tell your parents. You practically went into shock at the mention of marriage. What is it with you?
I don't know. Sometimes maybe I think we're going a little too fast. That's all.
Too fast? Goody, we've known each other for 5 months. My sister only knew her husband for 2 weeks before they started living together. Of course, she hasn't had a happy day since, but that's not us. Goody, what are you afraid of? Me?
No.
What?
Me?
You?
How do I know I'm not just another black man after a white woman as a kind of trophy?
Well, all right then. If you're going to think that way, how do I know I'm not just another white woman after a black stud?
Say what?
It's clear she
What?
was after.
Well, we are something else, aren't we?
There's some challenge, Mark.
And don't you forget it, Cumberbatch.
That must be Jordan. Okay. Hey, hey. Hi again.
Everyone, soup's on.
Ooh, how about that? Perfect timing.
before Goody's on TV. Come on.
You're really gonna be on Face the Nation, huh?
Yeah.
How old are you?
23.
God, you must be really smart, huh? Go figure. So how does it feel?
Terrific. But it does make me nervous watching it here with the Nuremberg jury.
Come on now. Your father's been looking forward to this just like we all have, haven't you, Ernest?
It's like getting a flu shot. See what I mean?
Mrs. Cumberbatch, I must say it, you are some good cook. Oh, wow.
Rose, this is soul food for the rich and famous. This is not my kind of food.
This is too, because your kind of woman fixed it. Now go over there, sit down, and eat it.
Do you know what you're eating?
Cornish game hen on pumpkin ravioli, matzatake mushrooms, baby.
All right, all right.
Now, Laura would appreciate a little grace, Ernest. Everyone,
Ernest is gonna say grace. Fight it is.
Grace, Ernest.
Ernest, grace.
Good bread, good meat, good Lord, let's see.
What?
Thank you, God, for this fine meal. Amen.
Amen.
Amen, amen, amen,
Uh.
myself, Mrs. Cumberbatch, but these are some really great eats here. You ought to go retail, open up a restaurant.
You're right on, Joey. Black people starting our own businesses. Now that's one way of climbing out of the quagmire of victimization.
Ooh, the quagmire of victimization. I like that.
You hear that, Joey? She likes that. She likes everything that comes out of Uncle Clarence Thomas Jr. How about that, Joey? How about that? He gets back at me by making snide references to the one African American on the Supreme Court. You hear that, Joey? Like I'm not proud of the one black man that we have on the court. Well, the color of his skin does not make a man black when it comes to the color of some of his ideas.
Yeah,
I love that, don't you, Joey? A man thinks differently, and right away he's a white man or an Uncle Tom. Might as well call Malcolm X an Uncle Tom, Pop.
Yeah,
Well, now Malcolm wasn't no Uncle Tom, but he wasn't a white man's idea of a black conservative either, like some people I know.
I resent that, Pop.
But unfortunately, you resemble it too.
We can have a decent
Because
conversation.
of that Rush Limbaugh guy. He should be committed. And you should be committed.
Good morning and welcome to Face the Nation. Our guest today is Thurgood Marshall Cumberbatch, the president of the Young
Honey, honey, ooh, doesn't he look good?
Looks a little chunky to me.
Mr. Cumberbatch, it is no secret that your ultra-conservative views are not very popular with many African Americans. How do your parents deal with that?
Well, my father taught me to be a thinker, an independent. Gives me the freedom to be myself.
You seem to respect him quite a bit.
You bet. My father is a remarkable man. I respect him very much. He supported his mother and two baby sisters from the time he was 13. Taught us how to trade. Came up the hard way. A veteran of Vietnam, the civil rights battles of the 1960s. I owe him a great debt. Great debt. He's a good man. He really is. But greater than that, I must say his attitudes, his politics, are yesterday's news.
I gather you're saying he's a liberal.
Liberal? My father's heart bleeds so much he has to wear an IV just to vote. National TV too, you skinhead!
You don't really need me here, do you? I mean, what you got here is a family matter. You don't mind if I go, do you? Okay, I'll go. I'll just throw myself out. Thank you.
everybody. That was
Part 3 of Hounds of Revelation. They laughed at us. Part 1 as it pertains to that series. We may do the other two on the other two episodes in the next. I mean, there's like 5 episodes, but as far as the ones that show that's pertinent for the teaching and discussion that we're doing is about 2 more that we have to do. So you can get in contact with us here at Yes Ministries, Salvation and Glory Ministries. You can go to the blog, which is Quickening Words, the numeral 2, YOU.wordpress.com. It's Quickening Words, the numeral 2, YOU.wordpress.com. You can also go to Y'all Remembers on Twitter. You can go to the Facebook page that we're on, right? You can also go to Joshua TOD Restored is the IG. Joshua TOD Restored. Pat_Randolph6 at yahoo.com. That's Pat_Randolph6 at yahoo.com. It's the email. Salvation and Glory 7 on YouTube. I may have said that. If I didn't, that's one of the other spots. And until next time.